Hello, Angela Arson's Film Review Channel, back again. This time I'm reviewing a movie. The new movie that I've seen is called The Banshees of Inisherin by Martin McDonagh. Martin McDonagh, playwright turned filmmaker, broke out onto the cinema scene with In Bruges. In Bruges has over time come to be considered one of the great modern classics. I watched In Bruges when it came out on DVD. I thought it was pretty good. I watched Seven Psychopaths, and I really hated that movie. I really didn't like Seven Psychopaths. Thought that was like a bad Guy Ritchie movie. Then when Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri came out, that movie raised Martin McDonagh's profile even more. It became a big awards contender. Everybody loved it. I watched that movie, and that movie's a lot better than Seven Psychopaths. Spoiler-free review. This new movie, The Banshees of Inisherin, it reunites In Bruges stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, but it's more like Three Billboards in tone than it is In Bruges. I'd recommend this to anyone that likes Martin McDonagh or anyone that likes Academy Award contenders. It's pretty alright. About as good as Three Billboards, maybe a little bit better. A smaller movie than Three Billboards, but with the same big themes. Spoiler review. It's about Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, and they live on the fake island Inisherin during the Irish Civil War. Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are pub buddies. They make small talk at the pub. One day, Brendan Gleeson decides that he doesn't want to make small talk anymore because he thinks it's a waste of time. He's a fiddle player. He'd rather be working on his fiddle. In this way, it's a lot like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Kind of like a social situation comedy. It's relatable. Everyone's been in a situation where they don't want to be friends with some boring man like Colin Farrell. It's pretty funny stuff. It gets a little intense because Brendan Gleeson starts cutting off his fingers out of spite to make Colin Farrell feel guilty. One of the fingers kills Colin Farrell's pet donkey, his beloved pet donkey. It's a little bit more serious than an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's some drama. There's some kind of historical allegory going on. I'm not the most knowledgeable about Ireland. The Civil War is occurring in the background. You always see cannon fire. The allegory is interesting, but it's not my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie is the personal stuff, the comedy, the human stuff. It's a funny movie, well acted, technically a little bit underwhelming. As we've already established, Martin McDonagh came from the world of plays. This movie feels a little bit more like a play than it does a movie. I think all of his other movies that I've seen have had that problem to an extent. It was a pretty big issue in Three Billboards because that movie was so big in scope. Three Billboards had just really basic framing, and it had a CGI deer. This movie has CGI fire. There's something cheap about it, and the performances are not cheap. Some of the other production elements, like the production design, aren't cheap. It's just the way it's filmed. There's a feeling like it's not a full-fledged theatrical movie. It's also narratively inconsequential, in my opinion. A lot of good qualities, but not the best. Not all that anxious to see what Martin McDonagh does next.